Bringing the hooligan food.
Hi again everybody, welcome back to digital art class. I'll make this video quick so we can get into the live demonstration. So what am I doing here? Why are we drawing in grayscale and then putting color on after? What point does it serve? A couple of the many fundamentals of drawing are value, form, and lighting. These all go hand in hand. Form is what makes a cube separate from a square. It's what makes your art feel three-dimensional and has a lot to do with perspective and depth. Lighting is what lets us see the form, and values are how bright or dark something is. When you start from grayscale, you can see your values much better, which makes it easier to draw in lighting and build your form. Hopefully, today's class and assignment will help open your eyes to a technique you might not have done before. But before we get into the assignment itself, I will be giving a restriction on what types of brushes you can use. I know custom brushes are awesome, but today we should only be using default brushes that you can find in any art program. Flat round with opacity, pressure, sensitivity, the airbrush, and if you have it, a lasso fill tool or just the selection tool. Using a limited range of brushes will really help you to not get lost in the details or stuck in certain places of the drawing. Additionally, I think it's a good exercise for the brain when you draw. Finally, here's the assignment today. You will be drawing a subject, any character, whether yours or from media that you like, waist up, and holding a prop. For my example on the screen right now, I'm drawing my own character, and she will be holding a lollipop, I decided. The prop can be anything that you like. I just want us to practice some form and some fundamentals we might be avoiding, like drawing hands. Then, after establishing your drawing, you're going to come up with some kind of lighting scenario for the scene. I made the direction my light source is coming from obvious, where I drew a white circle with rays coming out of it. So in the case I don't know where to put a certain shadow or light, I can look back to the cue that I drew. The last requirement is for you to draw something you know you'll have fun drawing, or something you're already passionate about, which will make the project feel a lot less like a drag for you. It can be difficult to find where to place light and where to place shadows, so take your time and think in a very 3D way. My style of drawing is more semi-realistic, but this technique applies to all styles. You're probably going to spend more time working at the foundation of the drawing before you get to color. This is more than fine and encouraged, and if you don't get to color today, I'll either assign it to be done next week, or for those of you who might be more antsy to get it done, you can go ahead and color it throughout the week. Throughout drawing this entire piece, this entire little demo here, I actually spent probably like 2 hours just sketching out and getting the values down before I actually got into coloring, and then when I did, coloring was the shortest and easiest part of the drawing. Throughout recording this demo, I made several mistakes throughout, but I went back to fix them and I made the piece look better overall. So making mistakes is completely fine and is a necessary part of the process of learning. And being able to recognize and fix mistakes will really supplement your process of improvement. Even with quote-unquote bad drawings you make, you can still find value in having drawn them in the first place. And certainly a bad drawing is better than no drawing. Oh, and here I begun putting down flat colors. After I were done with my grayscales, I made a new layer and put it on top of everything I had drawn before, and set the layer mode to color. Basically what this layer mode does is it keeps all your values, but it changes the color. So instead of gray, we have this more red tone, and it still kept all of my values that I put down to begin with. And that makes it very useful for design and making multiple color variations of a single subject. And you'll see here I begin painting on multiple different tones onto her skin instead of just one flat tone. I begun introducing blues and yellows and more reddish hues. This gives more depth to her skin, makes it feel more transparent as skin, especially in the face. It's not just like one tone, there's multiple different underlying colors. Also a more strong purplish and blue hue because of the background. But that choice in itself is more related to my style of drawing. Adding hue variation, even just in tiny bits, can really make your drawing more cohesive and colorful. But it really depends on your intention and what you might be going for. Unfortunately, I didn't record it, but I did later off camera. I made a couple new layers, set them to multiply and overlay, and begun to really emphasize this contrast between her skin and her hair and her eyes, just to just really make it pop. And in my live demo, I'll make sure to explain what some of the more important color modes do. They're pretty important to the digital art process, and you'll find yourself using them. If you don't already, you'll probably find yourself using them more and more often as you go on, since they make it really easy to establish like certain lighting or to correct certain mistakes you make in post. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video demo. You can see the reflected light off of her nose and lip, and I think I especially like those parts. I'm really excited to see all of you guys' art.